Thought Bubble Audio.
Start recording, because
Okay.
why not? Man. 300.
3 hundo.
3 Admiral Hondos? 3 Admiral Hondos? Oh, no.
Oh, man. Can't pull a maneuver like that again.
No. Too many ships.
Too many ships. Can't do that.
All right.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, for the 300th time, is my friend. He's probably your friend, too, and if not, maybe you feel like friends because of the internet. Frank, how are you today?
Hey! 300 times.
300 times we've talked to one another.
Holy crap.
On record.
On record.
Yeah.
Yeah, let alone everything else. How are you, my friend, for this 300th time?
Oh, I'm doing quite well, Frank. I'm doing quite well. It's been it's 300.
That's insane.
300.
300.
We've consistently talked to one another on a microphone for I would say, if you sparse it, like sometimes we record ahead of time or whatever, I would say 48 weeks out of maybe 45 weeks out of the 52 a year.
Yeah, I would say
for
close to 48
for 300 episodes.
Yeah, for over 5 years.
Wow.
We have spoken. We've had a conversation basically every single week.
Yep.
For 5+ years.
So 300 is kind of a milestone.
Hell yeah.
But what's the next milestone? Is it just 500? Do we skip the 400s completely?
I think they're all worth celebrating. 250 was worth celebrating, and
should it be 450 and then 500? Should we go like 100, 150, 250, 300?
I feel like the next big one is like sort of like 350 is like mentionable. 400 maybe is like sort of a celebration.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
450 is mentionable, but 500 is the next real big one.
Yeah.
Really, even 300 is sort of like, wow, cool, but it's like on the way to bigger things.
I think about our future children and that they will have.
Okay,
I think
got heavy.
Yeah, I think that they'll have 300 episodes. Even if we said this is the end of Beer with Geeks, they'll have 300 episodes in which to.
It's true.
In which to listen to their parents be idiots.
Yeah, and boy are we.
Yeah, we sure are.
Well, we did celebrate today though.
We sure did.
Yes, I think we did a pretty good job of we took ourselves out and we went to a brewery. We went to a brewery and decided, you know what? We're not just going to sit at home and drink beer. We're going to go to the source.
Yeah.
And do that. So we had ourselves a nice afternoon at Revival Brewing in Cranston, Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
And we sampled a bunch of their beers.
We did. We split a flight, so that was 4, and then we each had. So we had 5. We had 5 beers
each.
6 in total. I guess technically 5 each, 6 in total,
yep.
if you count the flight. So, do you want to talk about the ones that you ordered, and then I'll talk about the ones that I ordered?
Yeah. I tried the waffle, which was a Belgian style triple, which was fantastic. I loved that beer. I would definitely try that again because that was really, really good. Then we did a stout What was it? A cocoa stout.
It's the Elder. I guess we can just talk about all of them in general. We did the Elder Dweller chocolate stout.
That's right.
Which was excellent. Fun fact: this is my so the Elder Dweller is named after the elder gods of of H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh,
because
gotcha.
H.P. Lovecraft is from Providence.
Oh, right,
Which is the city that borders Cranston.
That's right.
So even though he was a terribly racist and anti-Semitic son of a gun,
yeah,
he's still ours.
Yeah,
it's
still claim him for your own.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
So, so it's named after him, and I think it was actually one of the best ones that we had today.
I agree. That was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I also like the What Cheer Pilsner.
Oh yeah, that one was really good. That was really good.
Yep.
Which one did you mention? Did you mention the Rocky Point?
No,
the Rocky Point Red Ale.
No,
I liked this one. It had a bit of caramel. It was kind of almost. I guess it felt a little carbonated, and it actually had like a kick to it. It was almost like slightly. It had like a spice to it, which I really enjoyed. You don't always get that with a red ale,
right?
But I enjoyed it. It was very good.
We had the Blood Orange Bushido Ale.
Yeah, that one was good. I didn't love it though.
Yeah, it was a little funky.
Yeah, it was funky,
but I liked it.
Yeah,
I liked it. Okay, I maybe wouldn't get a full pour of it, but I liked it enough.
Yeah, I enjoyed the art and the name more than anything.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Yeah, they have very cool. We were talking about it. They have a very cool design aesthetic that I'm really into. So yeah, all their stuff was, and then they had like a double barreled bourbon barrel aged IPA.
Yep,
double IPA. That one was really interesting because it had kind of a wine aspect to it. It was sort of like almost like fermented. So that one was probably the funkiest one. That one was only available at the brewery, and only on draft. I liked it. Again, I'm not sure I would order it again, but I did enjoy it a lot as a sample. So yeah, we tried a lot of great beers today. We've had a lot of great beers over the years, but I think this was a good way to celebrate 300.
Yeah,
was by sampling a bunch and enjoying some good conversation.
Yeah. Now, I think so. I think so too. But I think this particular episode we need to talk about we need to do something very special we've never done before, and that is sing bottles of beer on the wall.
From 300 all the way down.
300 all the way down. 300 bottles of beer on the wall.
300 bottles of beer.
You take one down and you pass it around. 300
bottles of beer
on the wall. I almost went back to 300. You just don't leave.
It just never ends.
Just, oh God.
This is the beer that doesn't end.
Oh, so, Frank, we do love our themed connections, don't we?
We sure do.
We sure do. So this episode, we thought for episode 300, we should chat about the film 300.
Yep.
Directed by Zack Snyder, based on a true story.
Sort of.
It is based on a true story of the Battle of Thermopylae, in which King Leonidas of the Spartans battled against King Xerxes' army from Persia at the Hot Gates.
Yes.
Hot Gates? Hell's Gates.
No, I think it was Hot Gates.
Hot Gates, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Hot Gates, which is, I guess, what Thermopylae translates to.
Oh.
Didn't realize, but Wikipedia told me that while I was watching the movie.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, you're coming with some fun facts.
Yeah, that's pretty much the one I got.
Oh, okay.
I'm not like Palmer here. I'm not like, you know what else? Xerxes was actually all CG.
Oh, he wasn't. Actually, I have a fun fact about Xerxes.
Okay.
Though.
You have more fun facts than I do already.
Yeah, Xerxes was played by the guy that Laura Linney has a crush on in Love Actually.
You're kidding me. Carl?
Yeah, Carl. Yeah, good night, Carl. Yeah.
Oh, my God, that's Carl.
Yeah, it's Carl.
Oh, man, good for Carl.
Yeah.
Still looks great 12 years ago.
Actually, he still looks great because he was on Westworld, and he still actually does look great.
Oh, good for him. All right.
Santiago, I can't remember his actor's name, but yeah, I was looking at something else, and he popped up, and I was like, oh, who are you? He's like, King Xerxes. I was like, what? What?
That's
but now
fantastic.
that I know it, like when I was watching the movie, I was like, oh yeah, there he is.
Right.
It is him.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Between the makeup and the deep voice and the bald head and the dilated pupils and like all that, like I didn't know. I just never knew.
I wouldn't have known. Good for him, man.
Yeah, that's my fun fact. There are a lot of people in this movie that all of a sudden you'd be like, hey, it's you. It's Michael Fassbender.
Yes, I know Fassbender.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen this movie since I saw it one time in theaters
Oh,
in 2007.
really? Oh, my gosh.
So at the time, I didn't know who Michael Fassbender was.
Many didn't.
You know,
Yeah.
like I mean, I knew who Gerard Butler was, but I didn't know who Lena Headey was.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
At the time,
was that pre
just
before Terminator?
It was at least before I started watching it. Yeah, I don't think Terminator started for another year or two after that. So
okay.
So yeah, like it was before I knew who she was. Like there were quite a few. Man, Carl, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Carl.
Wow. My other fun fact about Xerxes, if you'll
All right, please.
if you'll grant me. So, do you know the story of Queen Esther from the Bible?
Yes.
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 Xerxes is her husband.
I don't think I realized that.
Yeah, I connected that way later at some other point. I looked it up. You can even look. Yeah, because he had quite a few wives.
Okay.
But he, like, when he continues to roll through the world, because Persia conquered much of the world.
Yeah.
A long time ago. The story of Esther is intertwined with King Xerxes.
Huh. Wow, I did not realize that. I didn't realize there was a biblical connection there. That is fascinating.
Sometimes you forget, like, all these things happen around the same. Like,
yeah. So this is 480 BC. Again, I just googled this a few days ago, so like, that's why it's in my head. So like that's I guess when the Book of Esther takes place. Huh. Fascinating.
I know.
The more you know.
I know.
The more you know. So when had you seen this movie since it was in theater, or did you see it in theaters?
Yes, I saw it in theaters. I went to a high school and our mascot was the Spartans.
Oh,
and so
right.
I mean, I was already in college by the time this movie came out, but
Sure, but you had a connection.
But there was like, ooh, Spartans, and I remember it being a big thing even as alumni later. And then there was like that little small subset of people that were like, the Spartans were actually not great people. Maybe you shouldn't have them as a mascot.
Of course.
Like,
Of course.
Get out of here. Like, jeez.
This is not about being factually correct. Come on.
And Panthers also don't play basketball. Shut up. Like
Right.
Get out of here.
Come on.
Yeah. So, yeah, I remember seeing it in theaters and loving it. Like it was just not like anything else that was out there.
Yeah. It was like a phenomenon that
it was.
summer. It was a big movie, and it was a big like cultural touch point.
Well, the story's simple,
yes,
and it's very pretty.
Yeah, very pretty. I had forgotten just how stylized it is, and like this is like Zack Snyder. Like I think this is maybe my favorite Zack Snyder movie.
It may be one of his best. I think it plays to all of his strengths.
Yeah.
Because,
that's right.
Like it's not too complicated, and if you want to dive into something deeper, you can.
Yeah.
And it's based off of it's an adaptation of a graphic novel into which it's basically shot for shot. You know, and that is kind of his bread. That is kind of his bread and butter. He's really good at that.
Yes, he is. And I feel like watching it, I was, you know, we so often we'll talk about the DC films that he did, and I obviously have my opinions on those, but I am a Zack Snyder fan.
Yeah,
like, I like Zack Snyder's filmmaking, and watching this again was really, especially because the last time I watched it, I was an 18-year-old kid.
Yep.
So watching it now in my 30s was really, really cool, and getting to appreciate it, really being able to appreciate it, like as an adult for the first time, was really, really cool. I remember the first time I saw it, I was with I had just turned 18, but a couple of friends of mine were, you know, it was rated R. It was like a bunch of us like organized like let's all go to the mall and see it together.
Sure.
And one kid, I guess when you're like 17, 18, especially when you're 17, I guess you're not used to like always carrying your driver's license around with you all the time because it's like a new thing still.
That might be a New York problem.
Maybe.
Yeah.
This kid didn't have his driver's license with him.
Okay. Solid.
So he had like, and he
Was this kid you?
No.
Oh, okay, just checking.
And he did not look 17. He looked like 14.
Oh.
So his mom had to come to the theater and bring his license
no.
so he could come into the movie.
Oh no, that's so embarrassing.
I know, it was so embarrassing. One of our friends like stayed outside with him, like because the movie was starting. So one of our friends like waited outside with him for his mom to let him in. Because like on top of everything, like the manager was working the turnstile that day.
Yeah,
so they were
they
like,
weren't
cracking
gonna,
down.
Yeah, they weren't gonna. Yeah, probably because it was really popular.
Exactly.
They're like, all these like 12-year-olds can't go see this movie because there are things in here that a 12-year-old shouldn't see.
Should not see. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my memory of like seeing 300.
That's great.
I remember being like blown away though. Like I had never seen anything like it before.
Yep.
You know?
Do you think it holds? Do you think that style holds up?
I kind of do.
Yeah.
I think a lot. I think in a lot of ways it does.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's carried through, like in much of his filmmaking.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like that's very emblematic. You could show this and be like, this is how his movies are, and it would be a good sort of slice of his career of like, this is what Zack Snyder's filmmaking is, right? Like, I think it's a really good example to hold up.
Yep. Great contrasts, excellent composition, a lot of slow-mo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, green screen. Great green screen in this movie, though. Like, I was on my way back from Florida, and I was watching on my iPad, and my wife was like, I was like, "Do you want to watch?" She was like, "No." and then somebody came on screen. Oh, it was Lena Headey. I was like, "Oh, that's Cersei."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Give me the headpiece." and she's like, "Who's that?" I was like, She's like, "That's Gerard Butler." Now I'm like, now she's like invested.
Yeah.
You know, but then she's like not invested because this is stupid. And I'm like, hush. But she's like everything's filtered.
Yes.
Like everything's got a sepia tone or a this tone. And I'm like, yeah, that's the style.
That's the style.
That's the style. But she was like, where was this filmed? And I was like, a green screen.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, that's impressive because it still looks good.
It still looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It still does look quite good. Yeah, it's very visually striking, and yes, it is like panel for panel, like it's extremely highly stylized, and it's a look that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
It's so perfectly suited to this story and this like time period.
Yeah, I agree.
So beautiful.
Feels a bit like a Renaissance painting.
Yeah, every shot is like a paint. Every frame is like a painting.
Yeah,
and yeah, they are a lot. It is like a series of Renaissance paintings.
It's a bunch of oil paintings all kind of strung together.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. I lost what I was going to say next. So carry on.
Cool. I did have that thought while I was watching it. That yeah, it is like, especially the slow motion sequences, which there are plenty of.
Mm-hmm.
It does feel like you're watching like a motion comic, almost like a slow moving frame of like an oil painting.
Yep.
And the way that everything is, you know, the poses that he chooses for those like slow motion scenes, like it is very much meant to be watched that way.
In a way, it's almost like watching an updated biblical epic. Like it is of that like Ben-Hur Ten Commandments style.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they had the technology to do the Ten Commandments like this, like Cecil B. DeMille would have done this.
He would have done this if
like,
he could.
This is the same type of movie.
I agree.
Like it's slightly dumb. Nobody talks like this, but sure, it does look pretty.
It's over the top, but like it's meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually thinking that with the "This Is Sparta" kick.
Yeah,
and I was like, that actually doesn't feel like the proper. The kick is fine, but the screaming doesn't feel like the right response to the way this conversation was going.
Especially because I remember it being that conversation being a lot faster paced. Like he says, "This is whatever. This is madness." I remember "This is Sparta" coming as the very next line, then he kicks him.
Oh yeah. Oh, you forgot the little head nod from Lena Headey.
Forgot.
She was like,
I completely forgot that. Yeah, and she's like, "It'll be great right now."
Yeah.
A whole kick. I totally forgot that. So I was like, "Oh, this is a weird pause." While he decides to, like 30 seconds of like, I'm gonna just kick him. I know it's coming. I remember it's coming. Kick him. There it is.
Yeah.
So it is. So yeah, it is like a weird response. So,
maybe that's what I was feeling too, because I knew the kick was coming. You know, which is great. I love it.
It's
so great.
That. Oh man, what is it? It's that line, and then there is well, it comes later, but the "you will not enjoy this" are the two lines that I remember most vividly from this movie.
I remember that one, And I remember Fassbender, actually,
Yeah.
who was in this movie more than I thought.
More
than him being in, but where one of the messengers says, like, our arrows will blot out the sun. He's like, then we will fight in the shade.
I didn't remember that one, but it's a good line.
It is a good line.
Very, very good line.
I very much enjoy Leonidas eating his apple as, like, they're just cleaning up all the soldiers, and he's like, yep, well, you see. Yeah, I'm great.
Yeah, I had forgotten all about the framing device of the narration.
Mm-hmm. Well, so here's the great bit about this. So this is why I really like this movie. If I can steal your narration from you.
Please.
I did a project. I did a project on this movie in college for my postmodern fiction class, because we're going to get educational here.
Let's do it. Love it. Love when you get educational.
Postmodern fiction is when the text is generally self-referential on itself. Like, it can take various forms, like a story within a story, or a story like Deadpool is postmodern fiction. Deadpool knows he's in a story.
Yes.
And so he therefore acts like he's in one. The Princess Bride is postmodern fiction because Grandpa is relaying the story of the Princess Bride to his grandson. Things like that.
Yep.
So 300 is that story. It's a story within a story, because it is the narration of not David Thewlis. Oh shoot, what's that actor's name?
I don't remember
David
his
Wenham.
name.
David
Okay.
Wenham.
Sure.
He's in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
He plays Faramir, Sean Bean's brother in Lord of the Rings.
I know him from something else, and I can't remember what.
He was on Iron Fist. If you watched Iron Fist,
I didn't watch Iron Fist.
I'll
use my lookup for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so David Wenham is there, and he is relaying the story of the 300 as like this pump up battle story to, like, okay, we're gonna go fight against Persia, so let me tell you the story of Leonidas as like a way to boost you up. So everything we watch in the film is through the lens of that character, through David Wenham. So like when he's like, and then there were great monsters, and there were this, so like the rhino was massive, the elephants are massive, and there's spikes, and the immortals, and the giants, and the this, and it's all like, that's not what it was actually like, but it's what he is relaying to them to get them jazzed to fight in the battle. And I really like that, because it gave Snyder, or it gives Frank Miller in the original novel, like creative license to like make some really cool stuff, even though it didn't look like that. Which is why you could, like, why the Spartans don't even wear armor into battle.
Right.
Like, they're just so awesome. They're like, we just need helmets and jock straps.
Honestly, yeah.
We're fine. We don't need anything else. We're that good.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, because it's all told as, I mean, he's like Homer telling the story around the campfire,
exactly.
Right? But he's doing it to pump them up.
He's doing it to pump them up.
Don't let's.
So he sprinkles some fairy dust on
right.
it. He elaborates.
He elaborates and he exaggerates. But what I didn't remember is that, like, you see him telling the story at the beginning of the movie.
That's right.
Right? The opening sequence with Leonidas and his origin and all of that, and then you see that he's been telling the story, and then you see him again at the end. And realize that the whole thing was, he was telling these guys this campfire story.
Right, because he leaves before the last battle. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, don't let their sacrifice be in vain. Here's what they did for us. Now let's go back into battle and
that's right.
And end this thing. Yeah, I love that mechanism. I love that as like a I love the use of that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm struggling to think of other things where I've seen that used to great effect, but I really do enjoy that a lot.
Story within a story?
Yeah, and done that way where it's almost a surprise at the end that's what you've been.
Oh, sure.
It hasn't just been a narrator, it's been like it gets tied back in. I can't remember offhand, but
Cats did that.
I suppose. I don't know how to say to great effect, but sure.
They certainly did
it. They did it. That's for sure.
They certainly did it.
I'm not finding what I know him from, Dave Wenham, but well, that is okay.
Mary Poppins.
Oh, might be Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins did it. Bert narrates the story.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. David Wenham was not.
Yeah, I know.
Poppins,
I was like,
no.
wait, he was in Mary Poppins Returns? Okay, maybe.
No.
Yeah, that's right. Mary Poppins does do that. Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Yeah,
it's
right.
you.
Right.
Yeah. Go on down to Cherry Tree Lane.
Oh, I do love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this movie was, I think I feel like I was really pleased to. I haven't watched old Zack Snyder DC Zack Snyder stuff in a while, and it was nice to sort of like, oh yeah, this is what he can really do when he's like when he's working with material that is like really, really beautifully married to his style.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
I know.
Masterpiece level stuff.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I think it depends on what you're searching for.
That's right.
That's right. In the story, but it is great. It is truly great entertainment.
Fantastic.
It is beautiful, and it is over the top, and it is kind of silly.
Yeah.
And it can be a little clunky and whatever else, but a lot of movies can be. Some of my favorite movies are clunky, and not told super well. But I don't think that 300 really falls into the camp the same way. Like, you kind of know what you're watching when you start watching it.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, clunky. I wouldn't. It's maybe somewhat. Maybe campy is the wrong word.
Actually, campy might be the right word.
Yeah. I keep coming back to over the top. It's very just like it's at a 10 at all times.
Yes,
the intensity is at a 10.
I think about that scene where the senator is revealed as a traitor,
yes.
and the people and all the other senators are just like traitor, traitor.
Nothing is subtle,
Traitor.
right? Like there's not a lot of subtlety.
No,
but again, by design.
That's right. Some of their performances can be a little subtle. I think Lena Headey's performances are like she gives an excellent performance.
She's great in everything she does, man.
Yeah, she aged so well too.
Oh my goodness.
Like a lot of them. I don't think Fassbender has aged since this movie.
Yeah,
like he looks the same.
Yeah,
but
he does. He really does.
Yeah, but I was looking. I was like, wait, when was this movie made? Like she's the same.
Mm-hmm.
She is the like it's been 13 years.
13 years.
She's the same.
Yeah, she's the same.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
it's the same.
I love to see that. And the movie, do you think the movie itself has aged well?
Fairly well. Yeah, I think so. It doesn't. It doesn't look dated. There's nothing about it that is because it knows what it is. Because it's at a 10 at all times. I think like it has aged the way that like Ben-Hur or 10 Commandments have aged. Like you kind of know what you're getting into before you watch it. Like I'm not looking for subtlety. But I think the action is still just as strong as it was then. It's very in a strange. It's like a toned down Guy Ritchie, in a way.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And so if you kind of ramp up the stylization and actually that's not even maybe if you ramp up the action and you tone down the swearing. There's some similar patterns in there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The fun fact about this movie that Tyler Bates, the composer for the film, plagiarized one of the songs.
No way.
Yeah. I don't know really if it was I wouldn't call it necessarily by choice or that it was even deliberate, but so a lot of directors use temp music to edit their movies, and then so when the composer comes in, they say make it sound like this song or like to this tempo because I've already set the scene to this particular song.
Yeah, the cuts are to that rhythm or whatever.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly. So the scene where Boy Leonidas comes back with the wolf after he's like fought the wolf, like. Which I thought is a really nice parallel to the Hot Gates later on.
Yeah.
It's well done. So there's a song in there that's like the big operatic, like that bit right there.
Okay.
There's a movie called Titus with Anthony Hopkins based on the Shakespeare play.
Okay.
And the music in there is from Elliot Goldenthal, and there's a song in there that is pretty much exactly the same song.
Really?
It's like it's not even like, oh, they sound kind of similar. Like there's been talk online where like, oh, the new Batman song sounds like the Imperial March.
Right.
It doesn't.
It sounds kind of like it, but it's not the same.
Yeah, because it's in the same key. Good job, people.
Yeah.
So this is the song.
Oh,
so much that
no.
WB had to release a statement that like they were like, "Oh, we apologize for any unintentional like any stealing or whatever. We have the highest respect for Mr. Goldenthal, who we've worked with many times, blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
So
Wow.
the danger of film music. So again, I don't think Zack Snyder was like, "Steal this song."
Yep.
But
yep.
I think like it was like, I'm kind of jammed, and he said, "You want me to sound exactly like this, but not use this song."
Yeah, right. Like, what am I gonna? I have to have the same rhythm to match your cuts. Like, what am I gonna
right,
do?
Right, exactly. That's it. Temp music gets dangerous.
It is.
Even Star Wars was edited to temp music. It was edited to classical music.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So-
yes, the original Star Wars.
Yeah,
yes.
the original Star Wars
Yes.
was edited to classical music. So there's tons
Oh, yeah.
of there's tons of stuff in A New Hope that sounds like almost exactly like classical pieces. of
Gustav
music.
Holst's Planet
Yeah,
Suite.
Planets. The Mars is in there,
Mhm.
and Jupiter. The title theme to the movie King's Row sounds like
okay.
the Star Wars theme. It's
Yeah,
and it's not exactly. It's not like
No.
release a statement, but like that's what film composers are like about, like changing and applying what has already been used,
Right.
And so it's not about creating something completely different.
Right.
Yeah. So
Speaking of music, there was a very small thing, but fascinating to me. At the very beginning of the movie, I mean, when the WB logo is on the screen, at the very beginning of the movie, there is a very subtle, in this movie's musical style, a very subtle version of "As Time Goes By," as you see the WB logo. Yeah, because
they always do that.
I didn't really realize how many films do that, because like Superman Returns does that, and this film does that. Like, and those were like 1 year after the other. Are they still doing that today with newer films?
It depends on if the soundtrack to the movie is going over that logo or not. But like Universal has their own theme,
yes.
Fox has their own theme, and so WB uses As Time Goes By.
But I hadn't seen. I guess I hadn't seen before where they do that, where they have it in the score, like in the score of the film. I hadn't remembered, other than Superman Returns and this one, I hadn't clocked it before.
What do you mean it's in the score of the film? Like it's not separated from the...
So in Superman Returns,
yep,
you hear As Time Goes By, right? Dun, 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 dun. Like they literally put the Superman theme at the end of As Time Goes By.
Oh, I did not. Oh,
and then the movie begins with the actual, like they incorporated in time As Time Goes By into the score of the film.
Oh, I understand.
Yes.
I thought you were just talking about the regular like music over the logo.
They actually put like the composer, John Ottman in the case of Superman Returns, like composed a piece of the Superman theme to go with it. And in this film, they did the same thing where they played As Time Goes By in the style of the rest of the score of this film over the WB logo, which I thought was so clever and so cool.
That is cool. I almost want to go back and watch the beginning just so I can hear it.
We should afterwards.
We should,
yeah, it's fun.
absolutely.
It's fun, and we can watch the beginning of Superman Returns too. It's very cool to see. Like, they worked it right in there.
That is cool.
2-second thing, very easy to miss, but it put a smile on my face.
That is cool.
Yeah, a fun little thing musically.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Do you have any final things to say about 300?
I wasn't sure what to think going in. I thought that maybe it would seem more dated, and I was really pleasantly surprised at how pulled in I was, and how much I really enjoyed Xerxes as a villain this time around, more than I remembered. I remembered the sort of the like hunchback Spartan.
Yep.
I remembered him, but didn't remember what role he had to play. So I was like, I remember something about sort of a, that character, but I can't remember which side he was on, what his deal was. So it was cool while I remembered most of the story, that was the one character whose story I couldn't remember. So that was cool to watch that unfold. I don't know why that stuck out to me. It just did. But I wasn't sure how I would feel, and I really, really enjoyed it. And now I want to rewatch, Watchmen and the rest of his catalog, essentially movies that I already enjoyed at the time, and see how much more I enjoy them today.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Watchmen in a long time.
It's been a long time for me.
And I'm not going to watch The Watchmen. Who is?
Who is?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who can say?
I don't know. Not sure. I should watch his Dawn of the Dead again, actually, because he's doing his Army of the Dead right now,
It's a good time to do it.
Or he just did it. So he's going back to his zombie roots. So yeah. Anyway, well, Frank, this has been episode 300 of Beer with Geeks, which turns out is just like every other episode, except we got to go out for beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, which does not partake in this episode. So anyway, you can find us on beerwithgeeks.com, Gmail, Facebook, and Twitter, patreon.com/laughableaudio to support all of the shows. It takes money to go to 300 episodes, surprisingly.
We had to drink 300 beers today for you people. You know, it's not cheap.
Oh, I'm sorry. 299. No, I meant to interject different at different times, and I got sidetracked by talking about our main topic. So that's okay. So at patreon.com and iTunes, as well as all other places, audio listening devices, things can be played and listened to listen to podcasts. I almost said audiobooks, and that's I had to go in a different direction than I meant to, because we're not a book, Frank.
No, we're not.
We could write a book one day.
We could.
We could just transcribe these episodes.
300 episodes.
onto pages.
Ugh. That's a lot of work.
I'm not going to do that.
No, thank you.
I'll make the robot do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I made this robot listen to 300 episodes of Beer with Geeks.
I want that. I want someone to tell me what that would sound like.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Oh, my God.
I mean, I really wish that was the thing and not people just writing them.
I know.
I love that. It's a great joke, but
fantastic
I
meme,
wish that the robot could really do that.
Somebody wants to write that meme of like what the beginning of a Beer with Geeks episode would sound like to a robot. Please do that and email it to us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com.
That's good stuff. This can be like, Frank, beer is good. Tim, yeah, I agree. Yeah,
but this movie is bad.
Yeah, is it? No, you're right. It might actually be good.
Tim sings.
Yeah. Frank laughs.
Academically.
Yeah, that's good to do things academically. Oh, great stuff,
man.
All right, well, Frank, until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.